Guys, having a functional and organized kitchen and pantry can have such a huge impact on all of your daily routines, your morning routine, your evening routine, meal planning, grocery shopping, preparing meals, and everything in between. Today, I'm focusing specifically on pantries and specifically on the categories that we use and implement into people's homes week in and week out that make that space more functional and just honestly easier to be in. For anyone who's new, I'm Marianne. I live here in Canada with my husband and two kids ages 6 and 8. I make videos on simplifying life and motherhood through easy organization and decluttering. When working in clients' homes, we have organized honestly everything from tiny little apartment-sized kitchens to kitchens that are the size of my entire main floor of my house. So we have seen it in all, and honestly the scale changes, but really the concepts stay the exact same. The main things when it comes to food is keeping like items with like items. So that is such a big, it's like a simple concept, but makes such a huge difference in the function of a kitchen. When we are preparing meals, we don't want to have to be looking here, and here to find, the right type of baking soda we're looking for, or where did we put those black beans we bought again? There should not be any of that. There should be specific, intentional, designated categories and spaces for all of the different food items in your kitchen. This will make your life 10,000 times easier. I want us to move from frustrated kitchens, feeling like you're throwing a ton of food out, you can never find what you need, to organized, simple to be in, simple to use, and get on with the rest of your day. As I move through the categories, I'm also going to share sort of like how we do it in our house, just to show you a super basic kind of simple example. So category number 1 are spices. So this is going to include everything from your salt and pepper to your favorite rub for when you're barbecuing. How many spices you have or how large of a space will really depend on how much you use them and how much you need access to them. So some people have literally just one single turntable or a single little basket that has, your 5 go-to spices that you use every single week when you're preparing dinner. Or if you're really into cooking, you love being creative, you love trying new recipes, you love having a huge variety of spices to choose from, then maybe you have an entire shelf. And maybe it is categorized even further into barbecue area or Italian spices or those little spice packets for chili or tacos if you love having a lot of those prepared packets available. It really varies for everybody, but one designated spot for spices and seasoning. Category number 2 is baking. Again, this really varies family to family. If you think, Marianne, realistically, I bake twice a year. I bake at Christmas and I make my daughter's birthday cake and that is it. Then maybe you need one small shelf, above your fridge that you can barely reach, but it's perfect for things that you don't need access to a lot. Or maybe you're like, Marianne, you know what? I actually bake 3 times a week. I love baking for my family. I love having fresh bread and fresh muffins or fresh cookies. Then maybe you need somewhere that's super accessible. A lot of times we'll have a kitchen where the entire, the corner cupboard with the Lazy Susan, that whole thing is baking supplies and baking ingredients. Or we did a pantry a few months ago where she was really into baking and she had, multiple decanted containers, I think she had 3 or 4 types of flour specifically. So all of that she had a small walk-in pantry in her house. And so all the flour was together, and then she had smaller bins and baskets. It's very helpful, I find, in baking for any of the small stuff. So if you have little things of vanilla, if you have all the different types of baking powders, baking sugars, if you love decorating when you're baking, you like having sprinkles and icing, you might want to have a separate basket just for that. Just having all baking together, whether you rarely use it or you use it all the time, I want all of that in one area. Category number 3 are snacks. So anything like prepared snacks, like small items that you might be sending, packing in your own lunch or sending in your kids' lunches, or it could be your bags of chips. Again, this is another category where If you live alone and you're like, Marianne, I don't need a lot of snacks, maybe just one snack basket. You have all your favorite crackers and cookies all in that one area. For other families, say you have 5 young children and they're all in school, then maybe you need multiple drawers and cupboards that are all for snacks. And if that's the case, you might want to subcategorize even more. A lot of times we'll break snacks up to like salty or sweet, and so we have like all the cookies and candy and chocolate together, and then we have all the crackers and chips and salty stuff, peanuts together. Or maybe you have specific area for school snacks, so those like pre-packaged things, like all the granola bars and all the like fruit by the foot or whatever people buy, Rice Krispie squares, things like that. Maybe you have a specific area for school snacks, so you know when you're making lunches in the morning and you're half asleep and you're so sick of doing this, you just grab the basket, you put it on the counter, and you just like get to it. Number 4 are canned items. Now, an example, in our house, we have one shelf at the top of our pantry that is for canned items. We buy our canned items like specifically for our meal plan. So we rarely have things sort of on hand or like back stock of items, because I just buy it based on our specific meal plan for 2 weeks at a time. However, if you love having a back stock, and again, you like having variety, you like to have a lot to choose from, then a lot of times with families, we will subcategorize this even more. You might want to put all of your sauces together, or maybe even just all pasta sauces together. Oftentimes we will put like fruits and veggies together, canned fruits and veggies. A lot of times beans is its own category. A lot of times we'll have a whole category of fish. So if it's like canned tuna is a big thing for you, or canned salmon, that'll be in a specific area. No matter how much you have, keeping all of your sort of canned goods together is a really good idea. Items like this is like this chicken mix, that is a kind of one of those things like, where do I put this? I put these items with our canned items, just because our canned items is also sort of like our dinner section, but that could also potentially go in spices or seasoning. So again, what works for sort of your brain and what makes the most sense to you, focus on that. Category number 5 are sort of grains. I call them grains, but really in my mind, it's rice and pasta. So again, in our house, we just call it grains, and we have our rice, our pasta, we have like our little boxes of KD we put in there. I even put my croutons in there. If it's a big family, or you love cooking, you have a ton of variety, you might have within that grain section, you'll have a basket just for rice and a basket just for pasta. Or we'll have areas where families that have like an allergy, like gluten-free, so they'll have a basket within there that's gluten-free products. Every family is a bit different, but just again, keeping all of those sort of what I call grain items all in one area that you can access easily when you are making dinner. Category 6, and this is one that sort of, I feel like families or houses don't have as much, but I think is super useful, is having a breakfast category, or a breakfast kind of shelf, or drawer maybe. It'll have cereal, granola, like oatmeal in there, if you have oatmeal packets, anything like that. Say you make oatmeal every morning, you like to put raisins and nuts, that may be a perfect spot for all of those items. You can even just pull out your whole basket and put that on the counter while you're making breakfast every morning. A lot of people who have smoothies every morning, they can put like your protein powder or whatever, you might want to put that into your breakfast category. Because we're super minimal and don't have like a huge variety of things, we put our coffee and tea. Coffee, which we just keep in this little jar, it's just instant coffee, we're very basic. So we keep our coffee and our tea right in our breakfast category as well. A lot of times people will keep their spreads in there too. So like peanut butter, honey, jam, if that's something you put on your toast every morning, say, that might be a perfect spot for that. We personally actually keep our spreads with our snacks. And we have a category called snacks and spreads. I'm not sure. It just like made sense again in my brain. Everyone's sort of instincts are a little bit different. So if that might be something that works for you, because I'm grabbing the snack bit a lot when I'm making, again, the kids' lunches. So having peanut butter there just made sense to me, but a lot of times it works perfectly in a breakfast category. Category number 7 are drinks. So this could be just tea and coffee. So if you're like, Marianne, I don't want to put my tea and coffee with breakfast because I actually like having 6 different types of tea on hand, and I love having my friends over for coffee. So sometimes we have a few different options for coffee, and I want to have a coffee and tea bar. That's amazing. I love that idea. And then so you might want to have a section just for that. Other people like having a ton of drink options. If you love having like cold drinks, like, you know, those packets like Crystal Light or like little water flavors, things like that. You might want to have a whole drawer that's like drink flavoring items. You might want to put your smoothie mix in this if you don't like the idea of having a breakfast category. Another big one here, especially for cold climates, is hot chocolate. A lot of clients I find have a bunch of different types of hot chocolate, and we usually put that in like with coffee and tea or drinks. The final category is super simple, and it's a bread basket. We personally keep all of our bread still in the fridge or freezer. We just, I find, don't use it enough, or quick enough, I should say. We're only a family of 4, so it's not like we have like, 6 kids having a sandwich every single day. So that's what we do, but we find a lot of clients where they love having fresh bread out. And so it's super simple, just having a bread basket. If you find that you use the bread, like say 90% of the time it's just for breakfast, like you have like having toast in the morning, you might want to even just put that one loaf of bread that you keep in with your breakfast category. But I like to keep the option open because I know a lot of people still do love having like your wraps and English muffins and raisin bread and whatever you love in a beautiful little bread basket is always a lovely idea. I also find that like we have some like specialty categories. So say there's again a family that has a bunch of kids and they love having movie night. They have movie night every single Friday or Saturday, and they love having like snacks. So they might even have a whole bin that's just called a movie night bin. Or you might have a whole category that's popcorn. Or again, if you're really into cooking, you might having like a bread making bin that has all the supplies, all the ingredients that you use for making bread every week. Remember to customize it for you and make it special for you and your family. So you want this kitchen to be something that you like to be and you enjoy it. Even if you don't love cooking but you know what, no matter what, we're gonna have our breakfast here, we're gonna make lunch, we're gonna make coffee here every day. We want it to be functional for us. So having categorized items and just being intentional about where things go and how they're put away and how you can track your inventory of items every single week or month. I hope this video has helped. I hope it's inspired you. Any questions, leave them below, or if you have any like cool or fun categories you use in your kitchen to make it special for you, I'd love to hear about it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.